Welcome everybody, my name is François Letarte and this is my channel JDR-D30, a channel about tabletop role-playing games. Today I'll talk about combats in Advanced Fighting Fantasy. Advanced Fighting Fantasy is a role-playing game written by Graham Bottley, published by Arion Games, and based on the Fighting Fantasy Gamebook series created by Steve Jackson and Livingstone. All the links are below if you want to check out that game on Drivethrurpg or the publisher's website. So, well, as you might expect from a fantasy game, there's a whole chapter dedicated on combat. So today, I will flip through the chapter, talk to you about how combat works, make comments on details that are important, and all the while telling you how I run this, how I see it, how I make this come alive around the table, and faithful to the original, the original books, while having all the options of a full role-playing game. So, well, if you have ever read fighting fantasy game books, you basically know how combat works. Both opponents will roll 2d6, they're adding their skill score, and the highest result will win the round. The loser of the round will lose 2 stamina points. That's how they show it in most of the Fighting Fantasy Gamebook series. Of course, there's a lot more options in the role-playing game, and that's what I'm talking to you. Well, yeah, this is an opposed role. Everything is happening at the same time. There's no initiative system as you might have in many other role-playing games. No. Everything is happening at the same time, you say what you want to do, what are your intentions around. Your opponent is doing the same. Both are rolling the dice, and the highest roll, well, what he was intending to do happens. It's like if winning the round means that you have won the initiative in a way. Okay, it doesn't mean that the opponent wasn't able to do what he wanted. It's just because he wasn't fast enough to do it. So yeah, you were the first to strike your opponent before he did. That's the way I see it. Everything is happening at the same time, and every round they say about 2 seconds long. It's very broad here. Personally, I don't count the seconds. It may help some people if they want to use it that way, but basically I see it more like a pass. A round is you do one broad action. I try to hit my opponent with a sword, and your opponent will try to jump on you. Okay, stuff like that. And yeah, the winner of the round just succeeded in what he was trying to do. Yeah. So yeah, the basic combat, I have explained it earlier. Here you can add the appropriate weapon special skill. You're using a sword, you have a sword special skill on your sheet. Well, you can add that to your skill score. If you have won the round, well, your opponent will not simply lose 2 stamina points. You have to roll on the table associated with the weapon you are using. Okay, here a sword. You have the table here, 1 through 7. You roll 1d6 and you compare it to the results. It will give you the results, the number of stamina points that your opponent will lose. Yeah, okay. How can we reach 7 on the d6? I will talk to you about it a little later. But let's say you have rolled a 4. Your opponent will lose 3 stamina points. I like that weapon system. There's a weapon table a little later. I will make some comments about it. But every weapon has their own little curve on how much damage they will deal. So yeah, I like the way it works. If you are the loser of the round and you are wearing some sort of armor or protection, there's a similar table here and the number of stamina points that are blocked. And there's a tip here, in combat you don't only roll 2d6. They suggest that you take another d6 from a different color and roll it at the same time. So with one roll you have either your weapon damage if you are the winner of the round, or your armor damage if you are the loser of the round, but it's already rolled, okay? Okay, here, well, in the Fighting Fantasy game books, when you were reaching 0, you were dead. Here it's not like that exactly. Well, monsters that are reaching 0, you can consider them dead. Heroes reaching 0 stamina are unconscious. Well, if you reach -4 stamina, you are really dead. But in the between, when you are unconscious, every minute you will lose 1 luck point. Okay, and if for some reason you haven't been, healed, and you reach 0 luck, well, then you are really dead. Okay, so that's how it works. This is a very deadly game, and a fast too. Okay, combats here, I just want to open up something here, but combats are very fast in that game. I really love the combat system. Combats are, don't take too much time in the game, and they are very flavorful since they can open up to any type of description that you want. You can put a modifier on the type of action that is being made, and yeah, the highest roll win, and then you go on the next round. Okay, for the role-playing game, there are critical hits and fumbles. Rolling a double 6 on 2d6 is a critical hit. Even though you didn't have a greater total than your opponent, if you have rolled 2-6, well, you have won the round. Okay, a critical hit, you are winning the round. Okay, and regardless of the total. And yeah, it's very nasty. Critical hits, you double the resulting damage, and also your opponent will lose 1 skill point, which is very dramatic. Skill points lost has a huge impact in that game, so that is very nasty. If for some reason both opponents rolled double 6, well, they're both dealing critical hits against each other. That can lead to very bloody description. And yeah, very dramatic ones too. Fumbles, double ones, you automatically lose the round, regardless of the total. Even if you were higher than your opponent, well, double ones means that you lose a round, and also you have to roll on a fumble table, which is very interesting, ranging from dropping your weapon to hitting an ally or hitting yourself, that kind of result. Yeah, fumbles sometimes may seem to happen more often than we want to, but at the same time, since it's a very descriptive type of game, okay, it adds up, it spices up the combat and leads to interesting, some interesting description and situations. I like that, it spices up the game, it adds up to the drama, to the tension, yeah, and yeah, it helps visualize what's going on, and yeah, the fumble table is very fun. Order of events. Even though there's no initiative, here they tell you that some types of attack are to be resolved before the others. Missile attack, range attack are resolved first. And then spell casting is resolved, and by the end of a round, end-to-end attack are resolved. Which makes ranged weapons very dangerous, and they can disturb a spellcaster. They can stop someone who is coming at you with a hand-to-hand attack. A spellcaster are faster than people with a hand-to-hand attack. So yeah, it helps sort of the things in a combat, and tells you how fast those types of attacks are. Yeah, big table of modifiers. There's lots of that over there. Typical modifiers. Darkness, fog, in water, in narrow corridor, steps, being drunk. There's a not numbering modifier here. How does it work? It's a very interesting one. Well, goblins, if you attack goblin alone, usually they are easy to dispatch. But if you are fighting 4 goblins, well, for each goblin behind the first, all the goblins will add 1 to their skill score, meaning that a goblin, if there are 4 goblins, all the goblins will have a bonus of 3 in their attack, which is a lot. a lot. So yeah, small monsters like that ganging up can be very dangerous in that way. And how it works, when you fight a group like that, you roll once, your attack, you add up your score and all that, and every opponents are doing the same, and you compare your roll with all the rolls. If you have won, if you are the winner against some of your opponents, well, you choose one of them to be the one who will receive damage. All the other ones that you have won against, you are the winner against, it simply means that you were able to defend against them. And and for every opponent that are the winner against you, well, you will lose stamina points for each of them. They will roll on their table. So that's very dangerous, and lots of action are to be expected from a situation like that. Using luck in combat, don't forget that we have a luck score. If you are a winner of the round, you can use your luck, and if you are successful, your damage, it's like if you have rolled a 7 on your table. That's one of the way to reach 7 in a combat. So you do max damage if you are successful in your luck. If you are the loser of a round, you can also use luck. And if you are successful in using your luck, well, your opponent, it's like if he has rolled a 1 on his damage table. So he does the minimum damage that his weapon is doing. So it's a way for you to prevent from some stamina points loss. Okay, missile combat. There are range for the different weapon. Ranged weapon. Using a grid might be, if you are using a grid, of course, this is very useful. Missile combat situations and all that. Mountain combat. There's a chapter on that. Okay, you have to get your mounted combat special skill, and if you don't have that, you have a big minus, a big penalty, and you still have to have your weapon special skill. But the weapon special skill is capped at the level of the mounted combat special skill. But there are some bonuses here. Fighting someone that is not on a horse, you are better against him. And there's if you charge, you have a bonus for the damage. Plus the bonus to the damage roll. So that is another way to reach the 7 on the weapon table. While talking about it, reaching 7, there are talents that helps you get there. There are different situations. Some monsters have bonuses also to their damage roll. So there are different ways to reach the 7. So with bonuses. The weapon table. All the weapons you need are here, with the table and the damage that they're doing. Some more weapons are presented in the different supplements that were published for this game. Some weapons description. A very short description, just one small paragraph. Armor. In order to wear an armor effectively, you have to get yourself the armor special skill. There's a table here of different type of armor. The more efficient the armor is, the more skillful you have to be to wear it effectively. And if you are not efficient enough, you will have a penalty into combat. Let's say your total with your armor and your skill, you have a total of 7, and you want to wear a chainmail cuirass. You need 9 total to wear that. So there's a difference of 2. That's a penalty you'll have in combat while wearing this type of armor. So if you want to be good with armor, you have to put some points into the armor special skill. And you can add up a shield to that. There's a table for different armor, how many stamina points they can block, and also the the natural armor from the monsters, they are there. Armor description. Dodging, yeah. Okay, if you have chose the talent Swashbuckler, you are able to dodge damage. Okay, if you put points into your dodge special skill, the more the higher the score, it's like if you add a better armor every time. So yeah, you have to be careful in talents that you choose when you create a character, since you only got one and it's very difficult to get another one. It takes lots of experience points. But yeah, dodging can be quite cool. Without an armor, you have the same effect of an armor. Yeah, and all you have to do is put raise your dodge special skill with your experience points. So yeah, basically it costs experience point to have a better armor in the dodging situation. Other combat related rules. Yeah, to spice up the game, to give little more options. Surprise. Yeah, if in a combat, if an opponent is surprising, his adversary, he will get a +6 bonus to his combat total for that first round, and will have +2 to the damage roll. So another way to reach the 7 on the weapon table. So yeah, surprise, it's very deadly. Unarmed, yeah, well, if you are unarmed, well, you can fight against people who are using, of course, bare hands, their foot, their head. Daggers, broken bottles, chair legs, other improvised weapon can be with that. But if you are unarmed and someone comes at you with a big sword, you have a big penalty. Yeah, I think it makes sense. So you may lose rounds more often. Some more options, they talk about all-out attack. You can lower your attack to add up to the damage. Defensive, you can fight defensively, which adds a bonus to your score when you fight, but if you win the round, you simply have defended yourself. Feint, yeah, that is a risky one. If you are the winner of the round, you add 1 to your damage roll, but if you are the loser, that is your opponent that would add 1 to his damage roll. Rapid shot for ranged weapons, that deals less damage, but that maybe it can be interesting in some situations to shoot more than once in one round. Pushback. Yeah, if you want to push an opponent, well, you deal the minimum damage for your weapon, like if you have rolled a 1, and then you push your opponent 2 meters. Yeah, so can make the combat move a little and push opponents into places they don't want to. That can be very interesting. And the chapter finishes up with healing and injury. So yeah, I've explained that reaching 0, well, monsters dies. Heroes are unconscious. If they reach -4 stamina, they are dead. But in between that, they will lose luck points. And when they reach 0 luck points, they are dead for real. So it can be stabilized. If the hero can be restored to 1 stamina or more before that happens, the hero will again be conscious and able to act and will lose no further luck points. So yeah, you have to be healed and brought back to a positive number of stamina points to stop the dying process. So some rules for first aid, natural healing. Yeah, well, like in the fighting fantasy game books, eating gives you some stamina points, but you can do this twice per day. So yeah, you gain back 2 stamina points for eating a meal. So basically that's how combat works. Yeah, like I said, I really love that game because it's fast, it's deadly, and all the flavorful description that you can have while describing what you are doing in a fight, really comes alive into that game. You can eyeball the modifiers. Yeah, there's a table of modifier, very easy to reference, but yeah, you can eyeball the stuff. In the fighting fantasy game books, sometimes you have penalty in some combats and it seems quite eyeballed. So why not do it ourselves? You know, it ranges from -1 through -8 in the most difficult situations, which is quite rare. But yeah, you can eyeball the stuff, or yeah, with some practice you can remember them quite easily, or some bonuses depending on what you're doing. But yeah, that is combats that strangely you can do mostly anything you want into that combat. It's just in the end you roll the dice and see if you have won the round or not. So that's where you see if you are successful or not in the action you are attempting. So that is a very flavorful combat system, and the options that they brought there just got it out from the basic mechanic that you find into those, you know, the classic books. So yeah, in the role-playing game, it really comes alive. So to show that to you, yeah, the next video I will make in my Advanced Fighting Fantasy series will be an actual combat with a map. Yeah, just for visualize that a little more. You know, I don't use map a lot and small figures. So no, I use it theater of the mind most of the time. Sometimes I use some of the figures. But yeah, I will show that to you on my next video, so you will see how it works. So yeah, I will do a live combat. So I don't know what to expect from that combat. I have created some sort of a situation, so we'll see how our hero will handle the combat. So yeah, that's basically it. If you have any questions, comments, please leave them below. If you want to check out that game, all the links are below. Drivethrurpg and Arion Games website. So my name is François Letarte for JDR-D30, and up to next time, I hope you have as much fun in your life as in your games. Goodbye.